All right, looks like we have quorum. So thank you for being here and thank you for being online. So first item is the approval of the TPB agenda for today, June 10th, 2025. So we like
Second.
we have a motion and a second to approve today's agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. Moving on. The next we have the approval of the TPB meeting minutes from May 13th, 2025.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes from May 13th. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. Moving on. Item C, Director's Report. Chad.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, members of the Transportation Policy Body. We have a few items to report to you, starting with safety-related items. Our multimodal transportation safety planner, Kim Negrete, is here. Kim, please.
Yes, good afternoon. Today I have a couple updates. Wanted to definitely remind you about the Safe Streets and Roads for All application deadline. That is the grant that is due June 26th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's see my slides. There we go. Okay, the SS4A grants are awarded on a competitive basis, and they are really to support the planning, infrastructural, and behavioral and operational initiatives to prevent fatalities and serious injuries. So I know a lot of you are already prioritizing projects and efforts in this area. The funding is up to $25 million per grant application. And as I mentioned, it's due June 26th. WAMPO is encouraging the jurisdictions to apply individually for this, and we can provide support and technical assistance with any of the grant writing, letters of support, or anything that you might need. In addition, KDOT is providing assistance, and they are also providing assistance with the match portion again. So there is funding still available in the Kansas Builds program for part of that match. So just wanted to make sure you are aware of this opportunity. This is most likely the last year of the SS4A funding. So we look forward to seeing what will be next. Any questions on the SS4A grant? Okay. In addition, we are excited to partner with KDOT again to release another round of a behavioral safety grants. Last year was the very first year for this, and it was so successful that we are excited that KDOT is interested in releasing another grant opportunity for all of you to consider. We don't have the exact date that this will be released, sometime probably late summer, early fall, but wanted to make sure to get it on your radar. This grant opportunity is really looking at the behavioral side of things. This is not for infrastructure projects. So if you are interested in, for example, purchasing some safety equipment or doing some safety improvements, some behavioral messaging or other campaigns, for example, that would be what we are looking for this opportunity. Again, these grants typically range from $1,000 to $30,000 per grant application, and there's typically about $50,000 available per year. So KDOT just wanted to make you aware to ensure that that's on your radar again, and we're excited to get some innovative applications again this year. So any questions on that opportunity?
Is that coming up or do we know?
Yes, we're thinking it's probably going to be late summer, early fall when we get that released, so that we can give you plenty of time also to get an application in. So looking forward to seeing those applications.
Thank you, Kim.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Next, we have request for proposals. Staff is leading, and Peter particularly is leading the effort on preparing request for proposal for household travel surveys. Peter, please.
Thank you, Chad. We are developing a request for proposals in accordance with the 2025 Unified Planning Work Program. We are going to select a consultant that will conduct a survey wherein households, approximately targeting 2,000 complete responses, will be asked to report details on all trips made by all household members over a period of 1 or more days, looking at origin, destination, departure time, arrival time, mode of travel, and importantly, trip purpose, and possibly aided by smartphone applications that use GPS. The last WAMPO region household travel survey was completed in 2011. This is often done every 10 years. However, the last household travel survey was delayed in order to avoid the effects on traffic related to the COVID-19 pandemic. The survey will provide up-to-date input data critical for the WAMPO travel demand model, which forecasts, of course, future traffic volumes and congestion on the regional transportation network. Any questions on the household travel survey RFP?
Just to add to Peter's point, because it is expensive, it is done every 10 years, and most MPOs have budgeted between 1 million to 4 million based on the size of the MPOs. For that, and it captures travel surveys and travel patterns of the region of various individuals and households. Work-based trips or shopping trips, and what time of the day in general public, is it early morning, what percentage of traffic is early morning and what afternoon, and so on. And also average trip length is another thing that's computed. Through these surveys, several of the parameters are derived, and these become foundation for forecasting methodologies, and these are standard procedures that are adopted throughout MPOs in various regions, just to add. Peter.
So just a question, because since 2011, obviously cell phones and GPS data is something new to this world. Is there some opportunity that they can capture just some of that data and reduce the cost of this kind of a project?
Wonderful question. We've been looking into that. So right now, some of the connected vehicle data has about penetration of about 6% onto the travel network, which is actually quite a bit. The complementary part of that with the household travel survey that it can capture, that we're really looking into and need, is the trip purposes. You can somehow infer that, but it's really best taken directly from the person. There really isn't a great substitute. And then the other thing that this is critical for is getting a diverse sample. The samples that you get from aggregated data providers, such as NRIX, TomTom, they might not capture some of your smaller communities and get that random diverse sample of transportation needs that you really, really need to help predict, especially around like your suburban areas. I hope that helps answer a bit. They should be complementary together. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. That's a great question. And to support Peter's point, yes, Mayor, they both are strengths, and they have each of the methodologies have certain weaknesses, like, travel surveys. As we are utilizing both, we are having both included in the RFP to be sure we get the best of both. And Peter, next slide. What the cost of the project cost?
Oh, the household travel. We're looking at a cost over 3 years of approximately 1.5 million.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate it.
Jeff.
Mark is coordinating with KDOT staff on various items. So Mark is reporting on a few items. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Yes, I just wanted to do a brief update on the FTA Section 5310 program, or the Federal Transit Administration's 5310 program, which provides enhanced mobility for seniors and individuals with disabilities. WAMPO partnered with Wichita Transit to carry out the application and selection process for this call of projects. We held the call for applications in November and through 2024 through January of this year. The submissions were then reviewed and prioritized for funding by an award committee. And the funding awards have now been announced for projects that will be implemented from July 1st of this year through June 30th of 2027. And that table is available in your packet. And then I also just wanted to let you all know that a proposed draft amendment to our Unified Planning Work Program is available for public comment. Public comment period opened on June 6th and will run through June 20th. The Unified Planning Work Program describes the planning activities that WAMPO staff and consultants will undertake during the calendar year, so January through December of 2025. Some proposed amendments are needed to better align with our planned work tasks of this year, as well as make some adjustments for our planned work schedule. Some of these changes include minor adjustments to reflect updated federal guidance, removal of 2 consultant services subtasks, the addition of a subtask, some funding adjustments to better align with planned work, and then reduced funding programmed this year for 2 upcoming multi-year consultant projects, one of those being the household travel surveys that Peter just mentioned. And that's kind of an overall summary. There is, of course, more information. You are welcome to look at that document that is available on our website at wampo.org/UPWP. We also have hard copies available in the office. Does anyone have any questions?
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Again, staff would like to thank you all for your quorum and support. Temperatures are so hot outside, but your leadership and quorum is really appreciated. And WAMPO also provides that platform where the network of this leadership is possible. So, please take advantage of those relationships and network. And your leadership, we are very very thankful for your leadership. With that, Mr.
All right, thank you. And thank you, staff, for your report. So next we have item 3, the public comment opportunity. Is there any member of the public present or online would like to speak? You have 3 minutes. Nobody? All right, we will move on. There are no action items today. So we will go on to item 5, discussion and updates. First, we have the core document amendments in response to the new U.S. DOT guidance. Peter?
Hey, good afternoon. We thought it'd be a good idea to just address FHWA's guidance on a lot of our core documents, because you'll be seeing a lot of these administrative adjustments and changes coming up. So some background: on April 28, 2025, U.S. Secretary of Transportation addressed a letter to all recipients of U.S. DOT funding, including WAMPO. As clarified by WAMPO state and federal planning partners, this letter creates new guidance on the contents of WAMPO's planning documents, pertains especially to the interpretation of federal non-discrimination laws, including Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. We are currently working with KDOT, FHWA, and FTA to determine what specific changes need to be made to each planning document to comply with the new guidance. Planning documents will have either amendments or administrative adjustments, depending on the changes made in the requirements of our public participation plan, which will be brought to the TAC and TPP in the next coming months. So just kind of going through here. So we have a list of the different documents. So our Unified Planning Work Program, as Mark, you just alluded to, we have a next regularly scheduled amendment presented for TPP on 7/8. We have our Transportation Improvement Program, which will also have changes related to this guidance that TPP will vote on August 12th. Our Title VI Program Manual will include that with a regularly scheduled full updated document. Our Limited English Proficiency Plan, those will be included in a regularly scheduled full updated document. Our ITS Architecture Plan that's currently in development will just include those changes as we finish that plan. And then also we may have changes to our formally adopted plans, such as MTP 2050, Public Participation Plan, our Congestion Management Plan, the Comprehensive Safety Action Plan, the Regional Transit Implementation Plan, and the Project Evaluation Methodology and Scoring Criteria. Again, this is related to a lot of the FHWA guidance. So as you see these different administrative adjustments and amendments, a lot of them are either making removals related to sometimes DEI, small language changes, things of that nature, larger changes. We, of course, will inform you and let you know of all of those as they come, but just so you're not surprised in the next coming months about a flurry of small changes to our core documents.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Peter?
Mr. Chair, thank you. Mike O'Heisel, Wichita City Council. Do we suspect that there's going to be any programming changes coming along with that, or is it mostly kind of just changing some of our terminology here?
As of right now, it's terminology changes. I have not, right now from KDOT, it has just been terminology changes. Nothing has touched programming at this point.
All right, thank you. All right, next we will move on to item B, the Regional Active Transportation Plan Consultant, RFP objectives. Peter?
Hey, just wanted to give an update on our Regional Active Transportation RFP. So in accordance with our 2025 Unified Planning Work Program, we released a request for proposals on June 5th for a consultant to complete a Regional Active Transportation Plan that will remain open from June 5th to July 3rd. And we have a scheduled pre-proposal conference to answer any prospective consultants' questions, scheduled from 2:30 to 3:30 this Thursday at our offices and via Teams. Of course, it will build on previous studies and align with recent and ongoing projects, including the Wichita Bicycle Plan, the Kansas Active Transportation Plan, WAMPO Safe Routes to School plans, and a regional complete streets policy. And then just to kind of expound, so we have a good idea on the primary objective of this. The plan is to develop a comprehensive regional active transportation plan that prioritizes connectivity, safety, accessibility, and infrastructure expansion across the WAMPO region through data analysis, public engagement, and importantly, the identification of specific projects and strategies for implementation. The primary outcome, a comprehensive regional active transportation plan with regional strategies and identified catalyst projects. I don't have it listed specifically here, but we also included in the RFP that we would have the consultant produce individual plans, active transportation plans for all of our jurisdictions. And the geographic scope, we're looking at the entire WAMPO planning area. So you can see here, the entire WAMPO planning area and all of our different jurisdictions, looking at ways that we can connect. Of course, you can do that through different sidewalks. I put the trail network up here to kind of show you some of the different connectivity between the regions, jurisdictions, and cities and communities. And so it will have quite a bit of focus there as well, rather than just small, short segments of sidewalks and things. In addition, we're going to be looking at identification of catalyst projects. So catalyst projects are high impact, visible, active transportation initiatives that improve connectivity and safety and potentially spur broader regional investment. An example that we put up there is the Keeper of the Plains. It's a gathering place, pedestrian for bridges and trails and such. There's quite a few examples of different active transportation plans that have these kind of big projects. We thought about putting those, but we looked out and talked this morning. We're thinking examples that we could have from our own region. So you can see the Keeper of the Plains there, along with the 2 pedestrian bridges. Another example would be something like the Redbud Trail, connects Wichita to Andover, and then even outside the WAMPO region goes to Augusta, and you can see the conceptual design of the bicycle pedestrian bridge that will go over Rock Road. In addition, we put on there is a business, Point 9, a trailside eatery that's supposed to have some outdoor facilities that connects directly to the trail just outside of Andover. And according to the story from the Wichita Eagle, a patron of the Redbud Trail, I guess, had been looking at this lot for years and years and decided that she would do something with it and connect it with the trail to kind of hint at just trying to make a connection to the economic viability of some of these catalyst projects that can be identified. So ideally, we would work this plan and hope to identify more of these kind of projects throughout the region and for our different jurisdictions. And then I wanted to talk real quick here on our Safe Routes to School plan and make a quick comparison of the objectives and scope. So if you're going through our staff reports, you may notice that the Safe Routes to School plan and our active regional transportation plan that we just released the RFP for, they're both very, very heavily involved in active transportation initiatives. And I just wanted to address like where they could cross over and how they kind of differ in their geographic scope. So the primary objective for SRTS is to improve safety and accessibility for students by removing barriers to walking and biking to school through infrastructure and programmatic strategies. So our primary outcome will be for this project, individual safe routes to school plans with targeted strategies and infrastructure improvements informed by a detailed analysis of factors affecting safety and accessibility within a half mile of each school. And of course, that informs our scope, looking at half miles surrounding all WAMPO schools. And to kind of show you the idea here, so these are two schools I pulled from USD 259. You can see that half mile radius and that orange on there, that is the sidewalk network within that half mile radius. And kind of moving here, I made this slide to help kind of illustrate the scope differences between the regional active transportation plan and the Safe Routes to School plan. So the Safe Routes to School will really have a lot of focus in these little half mile bubbles. So what you're looking at, these are the 23 high priority schools submitted by USD 259. And those white bubbles are the half mile radiuses around the school. In orange is the sidewalk network around that. So the Safe Routes to School is really just going to be looking at those sidewalk networks and different pedestrian networks and infrastructure within those bubbles. The Regional Active Transportation Plan will look at the region as a whole and look at different ways that we can connect communities. And I just wanted to make sure that if there were some concerns about duplicative work, that we talk about those here. So the Safe Routes to School and Regional Active Transportation Plan, they both focus on active transportation, but they really just differ in their geographic scope. SRTS, areas surrounding schools, and the Active Transportation Plan looks at the entire WAMPO region, including all jurisdictions, and importantly, the connections between them. As this, we just wanted to offer this for any discussion. If anyone has concerns about duplicative work, these will have to ensure that we talk to the SRTS team, and as we develop the Regional Active Transportation Plan, if they do have the occasion where one project intersects another, to make sure that we aren't duplicating any work. But any concerns from our TBB members?
Are there any questions?
No, I thank you for doing that comparison because that helps a lot. As we had talked before, it looked like we had duplication there, and I wanted to make sure that we understood what was going on, and that's very helpful. So appreciate it.
Oh, certainly, thank you, Mayor Binoche.
So I'm also glad that this RFP will be producing plans for the different individual communities, the way they can work off those plans as well. So I think it's very important to connect our communities and connect our cities. So it's important for that. So, any other questions about the RFP or the Safe Routes to School? None? All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
All right, next we have the, let's see, next we have Safe Routes to School.
Yes, super excited about the Safe Routes to Schools initiative. Thanks really to your help and your leadership. We are already at 50 schools out of the 60 that we were hoping to reach with this initiative. So wanted to definitely express thanks to Mayor Binoche. Your help just helped net us another private school, which is excellent. So I want to introduce today, yes, we've got Chris Brown from SRF. He is helping lead this initiative, and he is going to run through a few slides and just give you an update of where we are at in the process. Of course, understanding that we are kind of just getting rolling on this, but it seems to be picking up steam. So it's very exciting, and appreciate the leadership of this group and of your staff. They have really helped us launch this initiative. So yeah, Chris?
Yeah, thanks, Kim. Good afternoon, everybody. Definitely echoing sentiment here. We've really appreciated all the interest with our stakeholder committees. So that includes school districts and local agency staff coming together to coalesce around Safe Routes to School, and ultimately at the end of this, beyond our deliverables, I'm hoping to create some lasting relationships and meaningful change from those. So it's great to see that forming as we get off the ground here. So appreciate that. As Kim alluded, I'll be giving a few updates on where we're at, and also kind of where we'll be here in the next couple of months, which is a big engagement push. So do some more details there later on the slide deck. So yeah, just a quick status update. As I alluded to, kind of a big piece is this fall engagement preparation, and any partnership we can continue to have from our local agencies in the future to advertise and support would be appreciated. And we'll talk about that, and then any final questions or discussion. And so just a quick status update, as I've alluded to the last couple of times, we're kind of on two tracks here. One, well, first and foremost, as Kim alluded to, is identifying those high priority schools. So we were scoped to do 60 schools in the region. We now have 50 confirmed, and we're actually underway as we speak, having meetings today actually on getting existing additions information organized for our high priority schools, and getting that underway. So that inventorying there you're seeing on the bottom is well underway, and we'll be completing that here over the summer for those forthcoming action plans. The best practices guide is also underway. We've started to organize some content around that. We are really also looking forward to that big engagement push in the fall, which can provide us some lessons learned and some other information that can feed into that best practices guide, with the intention of sharing a draft full guide in the fall. And this is intended to be a living document kind of throughout the contract of this project, which is for another year and a half. So excited to have some time here to kind of continue to learn about the region, how we can make sure this is most applicable for you all, and then finalize that obviously at the end of the contract and have a living document for everybody to successfully implement and execute Safe Routes to School. And here's just a little bit more information on both. So again, with the delivery date here in the fall, as I mentioned, and really coalescing around some key pieces of the puzzle from a best practices standpoint. So obviously the ease of Safe Routes to School and how to implement those. We've been talking a lot about how to make those contextually sensitive in different size school districts. So we understand that, there are, various sizes of school districts in the WAMPO region. And so we want to be sensitive to that fact and make sure that the tools and approaches make sense for all to be successful. And then also just understanding how we can continue to create some action and some long-term change through this program with some guidance, some templates, and other information that can be plugged and played with, long into the future. Action plan standpoint, the 50th rolled in just yesterday, so hasn't been updated, but we are at 50 out of 60. And as I mentioned, we're creating those inventories, those profiles, and then I'll be jumping in here now into the preparation for fall outreach, which is really going to be a four-pronged approach. And here's just a nice map showing the geographic distribution of our priority schools. So we have a small handful of private schools, as well as in public schools from nearly all the school districts now. So I believe we just have a couple remaining, but otherwise we have gotten strong interest and priority schools from nearly all the school districts, which is really exciting. And as you can see, it really, it crisscrosses the region, which is what we wanted to see. We wanted to see some good distribution, different contexts, different size and type schools to really provide, a good overview of the possibilities through these action plans. So fall engagement. Jump into the next slide here. So we're preparing right now. I know school just ended, right? But we're already preparing for the next school year. because there'll be a lot of engagement opportunities coming up here. So we are hoping to leverage back to school events, providing those high priority schools, those 50, and this corresponding school districts, flyers, poster board, other materials, in an easy to use space that they can then set up and have present at back to school events to both advertise this study as well as get the word out on the opportunities to get feedback through a forthcoming online survey. That online survey technically would be open to anybody. Obviously, it'll be targeted towards the parents and caregivers at those priority schools, but we are interested in any other opportunities to share that forthcoming survey that would be released in August and be available likely into September through other social media channels, newsletters, other opportunities as those are able to arise from local partners. So just putting it out there that, you know, we obviously want to target these to the schools, and most that will be getting this will understand that, but you know, this also can be an opportunity to get some broader reach strategically on the issues and opportunities from a Safe Routes to School standpoint. We'll also be collecting student tallies. That is a national template formalized process that we'll be using. And it simply is just leveraging teachers to take 2 minutes, have students raise their hands on how they arrived and departed school by walking, biking, driving, school bus, etc., and gives us some actual hard counts, some numbers on mode split for students per school. And then we'll also be working closely with the schools and staffs to and staff as well as this consultant team, WAMPO partners and local agency partners come this fall, likely in the October timeframe, of actually doing audits of all these schools. Can't say enough how important getting out at the school, boots on the ground, seeing what's going on during those crunch 20 minutes is so important to see how things are operating and where there's issues and opportunities. So we are planning to do those audits in the fall. And so just a little bit more detail, as you can see, I just have some examples here briefly, showing survey outputs, both from survey questions and from interactive online web maps, which are great to be able to see some actual point feedback of a specific location that could use improvement or there's concern or opportunity. And so, as I already kind of mentioned, we'll be targeting distribution to those priority schools, but also more broadly, we'll be collecting key data, not only on barriers and recommendations, but also on demographics. It's also very good to understand, parent perception on their ability for students to travel by walking or biking to school, and kind of get a feel of that and answer the question as to why. And usually it's, large streets, perceived unsafe conditions, other pieces of the puzzle that we can try to start to hone in on and offer solutions to through the Safe Routes to School program. So I'm hoping to have a lot of good feedback and information from these forthcoming surveys. And here's just a visual, as I alluded to, of the tallies. So this again is just a really nice way to understand, demand. You can see those questions there. How do you arrive? How do you plan to leave school? So it's very standardized, very quick and easy. Typically these are part of grant applications. So it's just good data to have, good information for future tracking. These are also good to, collect at a reasonable amount of time, every few years, not dissimilar to the household travel surveys, just to have data and have trends to understand as you're making those improvements, are you seeing change? And if so, then that's great. And that's a good thing to be cognizant of. So these are important data points to have. And those walk audits. So again, we'll likely be putting out the call to our partners in the stakeholder group and across the region to support us in this effort, which will be much appreciated. There's obviously only so many of us in the consultant team and the WAMPO side to be there in person. And so trying to offer as much coverage as possible to collect data, during those peak moments at the school campus and the immediate surrounding area of how, what's going on, how are kids accessing the school, where is there congestion or unsafe locations for all modes, and where are there gaps or barriers. So that will be forthcoming in the fall here. We'll provide a standardized template, worksheet, et cetera, to make this as easy as possible on the team here, as well as the volunteers that are willing to support us in this effort. And so this is just kind of going through our month by month. So yeah, we're just currently, this was, obviously now we're already in June, but May into June here, we're finalizing the list of schools and preparing for engagement with those schools throughout the summer months. And then we also are identifying a champion, liaison, however you want to kind of frame it, but a point person at each school that can at least be, a person that can answer emails, phone calls, coordinate with us on fall events, or making sure that the online survey is included in the parent packet. This isn't red because we are still actively coordinating with our school partners. And so just putting out the call here also to our local agency partners, if there's any support to offer as we try to identify the correct person that can be the liaison at these priority schools. We are actively doing that and trying to make sure that we have that coverage and that connection for each of these. So just highlighting that that's a key piece of the puzzle that we're continuing to work through. And currently, developing calendar, understanding engagement milestones. And then in the month of July, we will be reconvening that stakeholder group and offering some training and just final preparation and making sure we're ready to hit the ground running come early to mid-August once the school year commences. So, and yeah, looking forward to executing this starting at the new school year and through the fall. So that is the quick update. Obviously, as Kim alluded to, we're kind of slowly building up through the spring, getting this thing rolling, and now we're really starting to gain a lot of momentum, both on the school analysis piece as well as getting prepped for engagement and some best practices execution. So we're looking forward to that, and I'll maybe open it up if there's any questions or comments.
Well, thank you, Chris. I just had one. You'd mentioned caregivers. Are you going out talking to the different like licensed daycare centers, or how's that working?
Oh, yes. No, that just a nomenclature piece. Typically, instead of calling them just purely parent surveys, we now just turn them as parent caregivers. So if a student has a non-parental caregiver that is responsible for them, that would take the survey. That's what that's alluding to. Not necessarily other staff or other locations like a daycare or anything like that. Just purely nomenclature.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. We are facing some possibilities of some school consolidations in Wichita. So you talk about this being a living document. Is that taking into account the possible school closures in the future? And if not, is there an avenue to kind of adapt with that as that plan is processed?
That's a really good question. I mean, I would say it does end up being a case by case basis because those are obviously unique events for a school closure and consolidation. I would say, I guess, depending upon how it's consolidating with like grade levels, and those other factors would be a piece to consider with the action plan or with any best practice guidance. So I guess, I think that could be something we could noodle on and potentially think about how to include such resources for those kind of unique circumstances. And also, I guess, I'm not sure, but I would assume, I think we got 21 schools from USD 259. I would presume, hopefully those aren't being ones that are being consolidated, but if so, we can talk about that too. But yeah, I think it's a good question and something to be cognizant of for sure.
Yes, and we actually have already encountered that at one school in 259 where they're Isley, actually, that's located close to Bel Air there, where they're going to be adding in grade levels. And so we
yes.
The foot traffic, and they're going to be reducing busing. So we know that foot traffic is going to increase over the next couple of years significantly. And so we'll definitely be taking that into account. Then what I also like about this project is Chris has talked about the best practices guide. That is really to help schools, but also to train our staff so that we are prepped and ready for schools that weren't able to get into this first round. We will continue on this process and help any schools that want to join in. So as we learn about those, staff will be prepared to help out for sure. Yes.
To get into the detail, what comes in the planning piece? Is it actual design of sidewalk networks? What ultimately is going to come from this first round?
Chris, do you want to?
Yeah, happy to jump in. Yeah, so it is a planning space, so there won't necessarily be any conceptual designs or any sort of engineering for that matter. Obviously, the recommendations that will be pursued would be feasible, but the ultimate outcome would be recommendations map. So it'd show obviously lines, dots, callouts, showing intersection, crossing, or gap improvements from the walking and biking network. And then some, brief write-ups on what those projects entail at a very high level. But then it would leave off at that kind of level of detail for then further consideration in the future of actually exploring design, costing or other implementation pieces. So this is kind of stopping at that planning space still from a recommendation standpoint.
Will you look at each school and prioritize what the best investments are as far as individual schools?
So the plan does, look at a half mile around each school. And then really, I think it will be up to the school more and the jurisdiction to come together and determine because your community, and obviously the school knows also their student population and stuff. So I would say after the plan is developed, then the next steps would be kind of prioritizing improvements and seeking the funding. And this plan will be almost grant ready. We have asked SRF to ensure that when the school gets their plan, that it is very easy to then turn that into grant applications and stuff for those improvements. But the prioritization would probably be mostly left up to the jurisdiction in schools, because that's probably more your expertise.
And we are following, obviously our best practices learned in other states, but then also knowing too, there is Safe Routes to School plans, a handful per year being developed in coordination with KDOT across the state of Kansas. And so we have been making sure that, our general approach and outline and content mirrors as closely as possible those existing planning efforts across Kansas, and then also adds in a few other nuggets, if you will, of just what we have experienced as successful pieces of the puzzle to include in the planning effort. So it is taking in into account, obviously, already the good work that's being done across Kansas from the Safe Routes planning perspective, with recommendations and per school and other elements to make sure that schools, as Kim mentioned, are ready to execute and move forward on these efforts.
As KDOT looks to prioritize the actual projects they'll fund construction, do they take into consideration projects that have gone through the planning part of Safe Routes to School?
Yeah, so it's always good to show preparation, and that's what this planning effort hopes to do, right? Is to show that there's already been some thought, some analysis, some engagement, recommendations that then can start to show that project readiness that is advantageous when you're applying for grants.
So several of the communities will be having festivals in the fall, and I just wondered if it's appropriate for them to have maybe a booth or presentation at those fall festivals. Maybe that's regionally oriented to that particular community. I don't know. I just
absolutely, yes. That's exactly, right now we're developing a calendar for the whole region, and we're putting all the back to school events, the fall festivals that all of you are planning, and all of those events, and then figuring out where staff and where consultants can work to provide the coverage. So absolutely, we'd love to be invited to those events.
Well, you're invited.
Thank you. Thank you. I went last year to yours. It was great. Maybe a little more sunshine this year, though.
We'll control that.
Okay. But thank you so much. We really do appreciate your leadership and your assistance on this. Your influence has really helped make this a success. So
Great job, Kim. Can we also send our TB members this handout? There were some details. There were good details in this.
Yes.
handout. Thank you.
yes, we will send that out with the minutes.
All right, any
Excellent.
further? Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, any further questions? I was just gonna say thank you for the time.
Are there any questions from or for Kim or Chris? No? All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
You're invited to the Hayesville Fall Festival as well. Third weekend in October. All right, next we have item D, the Regional Connections presentation, Valley Center. Kyle, welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kyle Fiedler. I'm the Community Development Director for the City of Valley Center. I've been in this role just shy of a year. Prior to this, I was with North Newton for 3 years as the administrator and with Sedgwick County for 2 years prior to that. Familiar with this building, but I got off the elevator and I was like, crap, which room is it in? But as soon as I got in here, I remembered exactly where I was. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today about regional connections, especially Valley Center, specifically talking about our growth patterns, focusing on population, housing, and employment within our community. We did just complete our new comprehensive plan. It was approved earlier this year. So we have a 10-year comprehensive plan. We slightly increased our planning area. If you look at the map on the left side, we increased about a half mile past Ridge, and on the north east corner of our planning area, we went ahead and went up to the county line and used the interstate as our east border. So we, as our community grows, we've just recently annexed to the west, and so we thought it was pertinent to increase our planning border on the west edge. And we continue to grow north along Meridian, and so we thought it was pertinent to continue our planning area up to the northern county border. With our comprehensive plan, we did look at our population projections. Valley Center has a pretty steady increase if you look at the last 50 plus years of population for our community. And so we had several discussions with our planning commission, with our comprehensive plan steering committee about what do we project as a community for our growth over the next 10 plus years. We have a lot of housing going in. Our school district had a bond pass that we're adding a new elementary school and adding on to our high school. So we only foresee the population growth going up. And so we're projecting about a 25% growth over the planning period for the next 10 years. That will approximately get us to right around the 9,000 population range. To support all of that growth, we currently have 7 active housing developments. We have a couple that I'm not calling active because there's 1 or 2 lots left in them that are almost completely full. This map here kind of highlights those different developments in different colors. Just to kind of give you an idea of where we've been, we had about 116 new residents added last year, and we currently have 28 permits that have been issued this year for new housing development in our community. And I'm going to highlight several of these developments. Trails End is one that just had the mass grading done. We've actually been talking a little bit with that developer, getting ready to maybe put some infrastructure in. This is a 146 lot development for single family homes. Right next door to the housing is a 7-lot commercial development. And then the pink area that you can see is a site where the new elementary school is going. And the aerial shot of that is on the right side of that slide. That is all of the footings were almost in at that point for that building. It's really neat to see. It's an 85,000 square foot elementary school that's going to serve pre-K through 4th grade in Valley Center. To the south of this development, in that map, you'll see the green space. That is a 52-acre park. It's actually a regional detention basin. We've had a lot of drainage work done in Valley Center, and this area was put to the test this last week. We have some cool pictures that it was very, very full. The park portion of that will not be developed until the housing developments get a little bit fuller around it. But this park is planned to have some paths through it, and it will also connect to a new multimodal path system that we're going to have added, and I'll cover that a little bit later in my presentation. Prairie Lakes is another development. This one's actually an older development that has, in the last couple of years, had new phases opened up. Phase 3 and phase 4 are currently open. Between the two of those, they have just shy of 70 lots. Phase 3 only has 3 lots left in it. Phase 4 currently has 6 houses going up in it. This is on the south side of that regional detention basin and new park that I just mentioned. So you'll see that on the north side of the map. This development, as well as Trails End, are actually in our special assessment rebate program. So Valley Center a few years ago looked at what other communities were doing, trying to figure out how we're going to get housing in our community. And they created a couple different programs to incentivize those buying new homes in Valley Center. The special assessment rebate program is specific to the Trails End and Prairie Lakes developments because they're in what is called a TIF district. If you're not familiar with that, it's a tax increment financing district. This area of these two developments was considered blighted. It was not suited for development. And that's the reason that this 52-acre detention basin was created, because the area used to flood. So the tax dollars created by the new development covers the financing for the debt payments for the TIF district. Because of that, our normal housing incentive program wouldn't apply to these properties, but the city created the special assessment rebate program. So for 3 years, the city will rebate up to $1,200 per year on the special assessments on these properties. So if you buy one of these brand new homes, you're the owner occupant, you can get $3,600 total back from the city on your specials. You essentially pay that. You pay your specials in every year, and once it's paid, we issue a rebate check. Harvest Place is another cool development that's happening now. They are almost complete with the mass grading. This is the very north end of the community, sandwiched between, you can kind of see the high school at the top of the picture. To the bottom side, you can see a little bit of the track that's at the middle school. Our brand new rec center is kind of peeking out in the corner as well, just above the track. This development has some commercial lots in it and is primarily residential. Again, with the drainage issues, this development has 18 acres of ponds added into it to help with drainage. And most of those are going to have homes that back up to them. Specifically, this development has 207 lots, with 126 of those being planned right now for 2-family dwellings, so duplex or patio home, and then 81 single-family lots. And then, as mentioned, our rec center, brand new 40,000 square foot facility, is located in part of that Harvest Place development. This is culmination of sales tax, a lot of planning on the city prior to me being there. The rec center has a cardio free weights with a track around those, a regulation size gym, and then a 4-lane lap pool with a kid pool kind of attached to it. I think many in this room maybe have toured that with Brent in the last few months. Very neat facility. Has a childcare center in it as well. It's a nice new amenity that the community has. And I just wanted to, highlight that for you, show some of the additional growth in the community. This is the indoor track in the freeway area on the left and the lap pool on the right. And then you can kind of see the water structures for the kids portion of the pool there in the background. Rio Bella is another one of our developments. This one is one of our newer projects. It is currently just having grading done. It is on the west side of town, a little bit larger acre lots. When I say larger, they're just over 1 acre. They're calling them estate lots. Another area of town people are excited about, this is west of the river. These lots are not served by water and sewer. They're going to be on-site water and septic. Just another neat development that we're having going on. Arbor Valley is on the east side of town, close to 81 Speedway. This is phase one is 33 lots. These are a mix of slab, on grade, view out and walkout basement houses, all on a half acre. There will be 29, there are 29 more lots in phase two. And then Satara is the last one last one I'm going to highlight for this piece. Satara is a large lot development. These lots are upwards of 5 acres. These are all custom built homes. There are currently only 2 in this development. It is directly across from our new elementary site. And one of the home, you can kind of can't really see it. There's one home back in the background behind the entrance sign, and then one brand new barn dominium that's up on the top of the hill. A lot of people like these lots just because they have a view over Valley Center. It's one of the highest points in the community, so it's really neat to get up there on a clear day and see the water tower and see the rest of the community. All of these developments that I've just highlighted and mentioned have the housing incentive or eligible for the housing incentive program. So all these homes can have a 5-year, 100% city tax rebate. This program is, I say, going very well. This year, I just sent the numbers over to our finance department. We're issuing about $80,000 in tax rebates to those property owners that are in the program. You have to be the first owner of the home, and it has to be owner occupied. And we have a lot of people that are entering that program. We've had several people that have now, that program has been going on, I believe, since 2019, I believe. We've actually had people now that have had their 5 years and they're out of the program. Many of them are still living in their homes, but it's been a nice incentive. I've had several people call me saying, "Oh, I can get $5,000 rebated a year." I'm like, "Yep, there's no cap on it." So it's very, very interesting. Nice tool to allow people to have different, entry level homes or, custom $1 million homes. They're all eligible for that program. To add to our housing diversity, Sunflower Valley is a twin home development that has been going on for just over a year in Valley Center. There are currently 68 units complete or very close to having their occupancy. We have 10 more currently under construction with a total of about 100 units expected for this development. This development is actually eligible for our commercial housing incentive program. So if you build a 2-family or more home in Valley Center, you can get a 3-year 100% city tax rebate. So this entire development, the developers, if they choose, can apply for that rebate as well. They talked a lot about housing, but now people that are going to fill them. So Valley Center is a community where most people do commute to Wichita, Newton, and other communities for work. So about 3,100 residents commute out of Valley Center for work. 300 stay in the community. And then we have about 1,200 to 1,300 that commute into work in Valley Center daily. And so with that, kind of gets us into our infrastructure piece. We've got a lot of road projects that are happening in Valley Center. WAMPO has been a great partner on several of them, but we've got to get these people moving. So the current project that just is almost wrapped up is our Meridian project. The City of Valley Center has reconstructed Meridian from 69th Street to 5th Street. The downtown portion, the main to 5th Street, has been completed. It has a 8-foot wide multi-use path along it on the west side. That path extends from 5th Street clear down to 69th. It's a 2-mile path that connects everybody from our southern border city limit into the rest of our community. This path serves all of our schools. So every school is connected to it. Our Main Street corridor is right off of the path. So it's a great way for people to get into our community, whether it's for exercise, getting to and from school and work, if they're choosing an alternative mode of transportation. This is the southern portion. This is from Ramsey Drive roughly, or the railroad tracks in Valley Center, to this southern end. You can see the multi-use path there on the right side of your screen. And then here is that roundabout and some of the paving going on for that project. While, you know, no one likes construction, it's been awesome to watch this happen. This project, this portion of the project started after I began working at Valley Center, and it's about time to wrap up. So it's really, really neat seeing this happening. Another project we have coming up, and this is going to help serve several of our housing developments as well as our new school, is the Seneca reconstruction from Ford Street, and I apologize, I'm speaking in Valley Center streets. If you're familiar with the county, Ford Street is 77th Street, 5th Street is 85th Street in the county. But Seneca will be reconstructed for that mile to help support the growth on that end of town. We have 3 developments that are off of Ford that are accessed off of Seneca, as well as the new elementary school. This street will be reconstructed beginning later this year from a 2-lane with ditches to a 3-lane. The center lane will be a turn lane with curb and gutter on most of it, as well as there will be a multi-use path on the west side that will connect 5th Street to Ford. So another mile of multi-use path to help with those connections in our community. That path will connect again to that new elementary school. Anyone from Ford Street can now walk directly up Seneca without having to be on the street to access like our main clinic is in town just off of Seneca as well. So this project is highly anticipated, and WAMPO is a partner on, or we're partnering with WAMPO on the part of that project as well. The other big, more recent project, this is one's a couple years old now, but thought it was just pertinent as far as the topic today with transportation. Ford Street was reconstructed from 2021 to 2023 from the Broadway intersection almost to the flood control in Valley Center. Portions of that road were widened to 3 lanes, so there can be a turn lane. The Seneca intersection was realigned so that Seneca was no longer offset. This project improved the drainage as well along that area. But this is one of our main corridors in and out of Valley Center. This gets you straight out to the interstate as well as 5th Street. So this is another great project just to highlight, to show the commutability to and from Valley Center and the connection it makes into the rest of the Wichita metro region. Don't know if anyone has any questions, but I appreciate everybody listening today. Nick, you can't heckle.
Any questions for Carl?
Nice presentation. Valley Center's got some good things going on. You should have made Brent come and present.
He asked me if he wanted me to come, or if I wanted him to come, and I said I'd be fine without him.
Kyle, that was a great presentation. I do have one question to Peter. Their 10-year population projections, I think, are more than what their 2050 was. So is that something that you guys will update?
For our MTP projections, we update those every 5 years. There's various comprehensive plans and projections that are developed on all sorts of asynchronous timeframes. So typically we reserve to just updating that just with our long range plan.
All right, any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, Kyle, for coming here for the presentation. Valley Center definitely has a lot going on. I know I was there 2 months ago for the part of SCAC in your activity center. Nice. All right, next we have, let's see, committee and partner updates. Executive committee, we will meet on August 7th. Item B, the Kansas Department of Transportation and KDOT. Mike Moriarty, I saw you online. Do you have any updates?
Yeah, just a quick public service announcement for everybody. So KDOT is again seeing kind of a rise in fraudulent text messages claiming to be from KDOT and demanding payment for unpaid tolls. Just wanted to make sure everybody knows these are not real messages from KDOT. We do not send payment requests via text, and KDOT does not collect tolls here in Kansas. That's KTA's job. So again, just an FYI, we're seeing an uptick in these fraudulent texts.
All right, thank you. Next we have the Wichita Metro Division, KDOT, JB.
Good afternoon. KDOT will close north and southbound I-135 on Saturday, June 14th. The closure is necessary to complete pavement patching operations and a deck pour. This closure is part of the North Junction Gold Project Phase 2B, and it is anticipated to be completed by 6 a.m. Monday morning.
All right, thank you. All right, next we have Federal Highway Administration, Jabbar. All right, he is not there. Next, we have member jurisdiction updates. Are there any members would like to say anything? Nothing. All right, we will move on. Next is other business. We have no other business. Next is adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn today's meeting. Any objection? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Thanks everybody for coming today.